Greetings, math fans. All right, so this is a different type of factoring, and this is called difference. I'm going to highlight underneath here, difference of two squares. Okay, and the word difference means subtraction, and the two squares means if I take the square root of a number, it's a whole number. So, for example, the square root of 1 is 1, the square root of 4 is 2, the square root of 9 is 3. Right, and then you keep going here. Square root of 16 is 4. The square root of 25 is 5. The square root of 36 is 6. So what you're doing is you're hitting the square root button on your calculator, which on most of those calculators you hit second x squared. If you look for it, it's second x squared, which means it's the square root. Okay, and you also have, if you look here on this one, x minus 16. Okay, 4x squared minus 25. That's a minus. All right, so with all those, now if it's a plus, which we'll get to in a little bit, you can't do anything with it. You can't factor. Very, very important. So there's a plus between them. You can't factor it. Period. Right can't factor. Okay? All right, so what I'm going to do is let me erase all this stuff here, and let's actually do these first few problems as I did as an example. Okay, so for this first example here, where it says factor that, you're going to, the square root of x squared, you're going to do two parentheses first of all. And the square root of x squared is x and x. Okay, and the square root of 16 is 4. So you're going to put a 4 here and a 4 here, and then it's plus or minus, and that's your answer. Okay, it's very simple. So this next one, you have 2, you have a 4, and you have a 25. So I'm going to put two parentheses here. And by the way, I have a minus sign, which is important. Okay, the square root of 4 is 2. X and x. The square root of 25. So you're going to hit the square root of 25, which is 5. And then plus and minus. And that's it. Okay, so it gets now a little more complicated, but no big deal. Here's an x to the 4th. So instead of doing x and x, you're going to do x squared and x squared. Okay, and then the square root of 49 is 7. So it's going to be a 7 and a 7 and plus and minus. Okay, so this one, this has got everything in it. So the square root of 4 is 2, and the square root of 25 is 5. Okay. So, and then it's x to the 4th, and it's y squared. So you're going to put two parentheses here. And you're going to go square root of 4 is 2, so it's going to be 2 and 2. And it's x to the 4th, so it's going to be x squared. And the square root of 25 is 5. And the square root of y squared is y. And plus and minus. Okay, that's the answer. And again, because that's plus right here, you can't factor. Okay, so let's do a couple of these just to kind of practice a little bit. The square root of x squared minus 16, or the difference of two squares. So again, I'm going to put parentheses here. So let me just do this here. Okay, and this is going to be x and x. The square root of 16 is 4. So 4 and 4, and plus and minus. Okay, pretty easy. 81. Okay, well, let's do it. The square root of 81 is 9. So it's going to be x and x, and 9 and 9, and plus and minus. Okay, if I go down to number 5, it's two terms. So parentheses. The square root of 9 is 3. The square root of 16 is 4. So 3x, and then 4 and 4, plus and minus. Okay, let's go to number 9, can't factor. Okay, let's go to number 10, can't factor. Okay, let's do number 11. It's x to the 4th. So that means it's x squared and x squared. Square root of 9 is 3, so it's 3 here and 3 here and plus and minus, and you're done. Same thing with this one. X to the fourth, so it's x squared, x squared. Square root of 25 is 5, so 5 and 5, so it's plus and minus. Okay, get the little more complicated ones. No big deal. Square root of 9 is 3. Square root of 49 is 7. So that's going to be 3. It's x to the fourth, so it's 3x squared. 3x squared. The square root of 49 we already said is 7, so it's going to be 7y and 7y, and then plus and minus. Okay? Let's do one more. Actually, let's do number 17. That looks like a big number, but no big deal. The square root of 121 is 11, and the square root of 25 is 5. Okay, let's do some parentheses. So it's going to be 11x squared and 5y plus and minus. Okay, pretty easy. Again, this is just to recall these last few problems. Make sure you're good to go with greatest common factor. Okay, I want to just do, let's do number 20. The greatest common factor is 3. No variable because it doesn't have a variable with the 12. So it's 3 and then 4y squared minus 5y plus 4. Okay, let's do 21. The greatest common factor is 4 goes into everything. Okay, so it's 4, and that has an x cubed, x to the 7th, and x to the 5th. So it's x cubed is the smallest. That has a z. That has a z that doesn't have a z. So no z. And this one and this one have a y, but this one does not have a y, the first one. So that's it. It's 4x cubed. So we divide each of these by 4x cubed. Okay, so we get 4x cubed, and then that's going to be 3, and then the x cubes cancel, z to the 4th, minus 16 divided by 4 is 4, 7 minus 3 is 4, so x to the 4, and nothing else, so it's y to the 4th, z squared, and plus 32 divided by 4 is 8, and 5 minus 3 is 2, so x squared and y. And that's the answer to that problem. Okay, so just to give you a little help here. Okay, hopefully you guys are good to go, but that is difference of two squares and then a little bit more greatest common factor. All right, so one more really quick thing here. Notice there are two terms, always two terms. That's a difference of two squares. So minus sign, these are all perfect squares. So it's a difference of two squares. All right, that's it. Adios, math fans. Goodbye.